right, today's review is going to be on the Patriot RDA. Now this is what I love to see, made in the USA. Hoorah! I got to give a shout out to Elliot over at Vapor Alley. Elliot, if you're watching this, I appreciate it, brother. Elliot works over at Vapor Alley. I'll also have a link in the description below. Elliot sent this device to me, the Patriot RDA, to review. So that is what I'm going to be doing for you. Patriot is a rebuildable dripping atomizer. Yeah, I'm gonna vape on it. I'm gonna talk about the pros, the cons. Then I'm gonna dive down and show you guys what's under the hood, all that gravy. Then I'm gonna tell you if I think she's worth it, how much she is, and where you can get one. I've got a dual coil setup, dual microcoils. It's a 0.8 ohm setup, and I'm vaping her at 20 watts. Well, as you can see, she's chucking vapor with the best of them. Vapor production is up there with all the high-end RDAs, like the Atomic, like the Trident, like the Helios, etc. But what's the flavor like? Well, that all depends on how you build this thing. This device does have dual holes, which makes it more compatible for a dual coil setup. And that's why I've got a dual 0.8 ohm coil in here. Like I said, it's all about how you build these things. Doesn't matter which RDA, RBA, RTA that you have. It all matters how you build it. With this device, I have built every coil configuration you can think of in here. A single coil, dual coil, regular single coil, micro coil, regular dual coil, dual micro coil, quad coil, you name it, I've done it in this device. I find that since this is a dual air hole setup and it's set to dual air holes, there is no adjustable airflow on this device. So you're basically stuck with the dual air holes, meaning you cannot block one of the air holes off. You can still run it in single coil, it's just gonna be airier. It's not gonna be a warm, dense vape compared to a lot of these other devices that have the adjustable airflow. I find that running a dual coil setup has given me the best performance. With this 0.8 ohm dual microcoil setup, it's kicking out kick-ass flavor. I mean, it's real good. How would I compare it to something like the Atomic, the Zenith, the Trident? It's a cooler vape than those devices I just mentioned. It's not quite as flavorful as those devices, but it's still flavorful. The flavor is not as dense and as warm and as in your face as those devices. The draw on this device stock, to me, is pretty much perfect. That's IMO. I mean, everything's subjective. You may want something that's more of an open draw. You may want something that's more of a tight draw. I like my draw on the looser side, not like wide open, but on the looser side where I can do my lung inhales, because I love my lung inhales. So I was excited about the fact that I didn't have to drill out these air holes, because most of the time when I receive products that don't have the adjustable airflow, I'm like, oh, got to drill out those air holes. But with this one, I didn't. The draw is, it's not too tight, it's not too loose. It's just right in the middle for me for an RDA. Throat hit, these RDAs that are more open give you more of a lung fill, not really a throat hit. To me, it's a cooler lung fill than a lot of the other high-end devices that I've tried. And it all depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for something that gives you a really warm, dense vape? Are you looking for something that gives you a cooler vape? First, I'm going to go over the cons. I always tend to go over the pros first in my other videos, so I'm going to switch it up. The cons. This device does not have an adjustable airflow. With those other devices that do have the adjustable airflow, one day I can adjust the airflow control wide open if I want to do lung inhales, close it off a little bit, still do those lung inhales. Or the next day, let's say I have an itch to do mouth to lungs. With this device, it is a little bit on the looser side to do those mouth to lungs. Here's a mouth to lung for you. I don't really feel the heat. It's not as warm as when I do a lung inhale. And for that reason, that sucks because I can't adjust my airflow. It's set. That's a bummer. A big bummer in my book, especially for a higher end device. See how on the deck it uses Phillips heads? Those Phillips heads tend to back off. And when they back off, I tend to lose connection a little bit. If it backs off, I'll still get a hit, but it'll be weak. I'll have to go in, I'll tighten it down, and then I'll get a hard hit again. Look at the size of that chamber. The size of this chamber is just huge. And it really doesn't help that the walls on this device are thin. That, in my opinion, is what's contributing to a cooler vape. You know, if I wanted to, I could run a quad coil or I can run a dual coil, a lower resistance setup, and it really bumps up the heat and gives me that hot vape. But I find that that really doesn't matter. Even though it gives me a hotter vape when I build those low resistance setups, it doesn't matter because the size of the chamber and the thin walls of the chamber, it doesn't allow me to get that dense vape that I'm looking for that something like the Atomic, the Zenith, the Trident offers. And it's very noticeable. And because I love those dense vapes so much, that's economy right here. The pros. This device is a 22 millimeter device. It has fit on all my mechanical mods. It's fit on all my variable voltage, variable wattage devices. Not only does it fit and is compatible with all my mechanical mods, it fits flush, seamless. But for me, I don't use mechanical mods as much as I use variable voltage, variable wattage devices. And that's why I have this device on here now, because on this DNA 20 box mod, it's regulated at 20 watts, regulated. You don't have to worry about battery drop off. But for those of you vaping nuts out there that love pretty things, this device looks stellar on your 22 millimeter mechanical mods. The finish is a brush satin finish. That's my type of finish. I love the brush satin finish, okay? This thing, not a fingerprint magnet, and that's what I love about the brush finish. IMO, I feel like the brush finish gives it a classier touch. The machining is flawless. This is what you get when you buy a product made in the US of A. The lines at the top are just perfect. No flaws. The logo, sick as tits. There's no scratches, no burrs. All the drip tips that I've used have been compatible with this device. Look at the size. I've got so much room to work with. Like I said, this is a 22 millimeter device, which makes it wider in width than most other high-end RDAs out there. So I've got much more room to work. Like you see right here, if I want to build dual coils or quad coils, got a lot of room. The tolerances of these two O-rings at the deck are perfect. When it's down and fastened on this deck, it's not going anywhere. Here's a little close-up for you. Check out that logo. That logo is just classy as all hell. Like I said, I've been using this for a week now. It has not leaked on me one bit. Not once. Let's dive down, pop the old hood, and show you what she looks like. Alright, so here's the Patriot RDA. As you can see, here's the deck. I've got a dual coil setup in here, and here is the top cap. First, I want to go over the top cap. Look at the machining on this device. The lines at the top are just absolutely gorgeous. No burrs, no flaws, no scratches. The logo is just sweet. To me, it shouts classy. You got one air hole on one side, one air hole on the other. Both of these air holes stock are sized to 1.5 millimeters. Love the bevel up here. It just gives it a nice, classy, clean touch. There's the chamber. It's got really thin walls. And out of all the RDAs that I've used, high-end RDAs, the chamber on this device is really big, tall. Here's the Patriot deck. As you can see, it's got the 3-post system with the Phillips head screws. It's got the slots in the middle where you insert your leads to make your connection. The recessed cup on this is slightly deeper than most other RDAs that I've used, which allows to hold more juice. You've got the dual O-rings. The O-rings are on the thinner side. The top cap fits on this deck perfectly. It's not too loose, it's not too tight. Here's the base, made in the USA. You've got a stainless steel connection at the base of the 510. 510 connection threads, smooth as butter. Fits on all my devices, from variable voltage to variable wattage to mechanical mods. Doesn't matter, fits on all of them. I would have to say that this device is just clean and classy looking. If Elliot hadn't have sent this device to me, would I purchase it? As much as I love the quality of the machining, for my style of vaping, I tend to gravitate towards the single coils versus the dual coils. And with this device not having the adjustable airflow, I'm stuck using dual coils, and for that reason, I would not purchase this device. But if you vape nothing but dual coils, you steer clear from the single coils, this device may be for you. For someone who is a dual coil vapor, a diehard dual coil vapor, do I think that this device is worth the investment? I definitely do. The quality of this device alone, I mean, it is one of the best machined RDAs that I've dealt with. I am really impressed with the machining. This is Rip Trippers. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to comment below. And remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.